Brandon, great to have you on. Thanks for the time. And
it.
You worked really hard this offseason. Now you get to see all of the talent that you've got in camp. Is this cool for you to walk around and be like, damn, we got some talent here?
Yeah, it's been great. I think the best part so far, I got to find wood somewhere. It's been uneventful spring training, but getting to see the guys go out, play, prepare for, our couple games in Tokyo. But, just as important, watching them kind of get into the clubhouse, learn each other, become a unit and start to mesh as soon as possible has been really cool. And, a big part of the process of when we're acquiring these guys is how well are they going to fit into the clubhouse, and it's been a seamless transition so far.
I walked in there today and I was starstruck. I mean, Glasnow, Snell, Sasaki, Yamamoto. We're not even talking about some of the young guys you have. Kirsch was in there. And then you get to the position players, Freddie, Mookie, Shohei. It's literally, I'm like, man, I want to play for the Dodgers. I told Alana, I'm like, I think I could catch a game or two. I'd catch the heck out of some bullpens. I want to ring. It's got to be the best feeling as a GM to know that people want to come play for your organization, right? To me, that's the biggest thing is it's Alana says it all the time. It's a destination. Well, LA now is a destination place that guys want to go to try to win a ring and play with the best of the best.
Yeah, I mean, that's been the goal of ours for, the leading up to these past few years, but it's been, something we've been striving for a while. And obviously that comes with the coaching staff and the players that we've had building a culture, Dave driving that train, and then an incredible amount of support from ownership. So none of those things can happen without our owners, really putting winning at the forefront of everything we do.
I know it's a full group effort when you go after guys like Roki, when you court a guy like Shohei. What's your role in it? Because certain guys have to step up and click the button for the PowerPoint. Other guys have to refresh the croissants at the table. Like, what is your role in it? And have you guys gotten better at that role the more you meet with every one of these superstars?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of it is so many people are involved in these recruiting processes and trying to figure out where you can add value, if there's a nugget that makes sense for you to drop based on personal experience or relationships that you had. So, as you're going through this, you certainly learn and get better, or that's the goal at least. And making sure that as you're figuring out what we want to hit on, what we want to make important, everybody kind of has their opportunity to touch on certain aspects of the organization and what resources we offer and, the experience that they would have. So it's kind of learning as you go, but understanding and rehearsing on the front end of who's going to take what when it comes to trying to relay everything that we can about the organization.
Brandon, when you talk about the Dodgers, you always talk about culture. And I remember having many conversations with Andrew Friedman, Dave Roberts, Stan Kasten about the culture and the character type of guy that you want to bring in. And to AJ's point, when you walk in and you're starstruck, and he's a big leaguer, World Series champion, and he's walking and he's like, oh my gosh, look at who's around in this clubhouse. Are there challenges with managing superstar personalities? You talk to Tony La Russa, you talk to Bruce Bochy, and sometimes managing superstars is harder than managing the also ran guys. What challenges come with that?
Yeah, I think obviously there's guys that have been incredibly successful in their careers, many of them on Hall of Fame tracks. The number one goal that when people step in here is to win a World Series. And guys have shown it time and time again, of Mookie going to short last year when we needed it. Freddie in the postseason being like, hey, I'm not as good as I can be. You should play somebody else versus left. Like those types of things, are what makes this group so special. And Dave does an amazing job of being able to handle the different personalities and communicating with them on a daily basis, which is really important because as you go through a season, players are making assumptions or, I'm not really sure about this. The lack of clarity can cause issues. I think, as a staff, and Dave and coaches in the front office are making sure we're staying ahead of any of that. But the biggest thing is, like we talked about, the guys that are coming in, we know they want to win. When that is your goal and you are trying to win as many championships as possible, everything else kind of falls into place because everybody's pulling for that ultimate thing.
I have to ask this because I saw Shohei in there, and I know he's coming back from rehab. I want to know, how is this going to play out? Because he can't go on a rehab assignment.
Yeah.
It's like you can say, hey, Shohei, we need you to go to Double-A. We need you to go to Rancho Cucamonga and throw 4 innings today and then be back in DH in the big league game. Right. So how's that going to work as a pitcher rehab? Because you're either going to have someone piggyback him, but how do you build a guy up that can't go on rehab?
Yeah, we've talked about it a lot, and obviously it's unique. He's one of one at this point. As he's getting in and making sure he's building a good foundation, and because we obviously can't lose one of the best hitters in the game, we'll set something up where we can consistently get work in it, call it once a week and whatever day we decide that is. And then in early work, try to work through some type of like live BP scenario. And that's not an ideal situation.
Do you fly minor leaguers in? Because you don't want him facing your big league guys because something, God forbid, something happened,
it's
right?
Certainly on the table, and we've done that in the past for guys, whether our hitters need work, they haven't seen a lefty for a while, we'll get somebody in and try to get creative with that to make sure everybody's getting what they need. So I think that'll be a little bit of a like, hey, let's see how this goes. What do you need? And then, as he's ramping up and building up volume from a live EP standpoint, one of the major benefits is like if he comes back and throws 2 innings, like that's okay. We don't have to make a roster move to do that. It is only additive at that point, which is obviously incredibly helpful. So we'll when we get to that point, as we're approaching it, we'll map it out and figure out, because we may be on the road, which could complicate things, but making sure we have some type of consistent work. And then when we hit a threshold of volume, okay, is he ready to plug into a game? What does that look like? It's just easier than if you had to say, hey, now we're plugging this starter back into the rotation. We have to make a counter move. We don't have to do that. So it's only additive, which is incredibly valuable.
I mean, we could have a 10-hour show on Shohei. There's never a lack of Shohei content, but I want to look at the clubhouse when I was downstairs, Brandon, and you see, obviously, Roki Sasaki and Yoshinobu Yamamoto right next to Shohei, who has 2 lockers, by the way, obviously, as does Mookie Betts, as they should. But what do you think those 2 guys, Yama, in his second year with Shohei, and then Roki Sasaki, can learn, and not only from their countrymen, but just obviously how to pitch at this level in the United States? Because you likely have Yama going game 1, probably Sasaki going game 2 in Tokyo. What have you noticed in the terms of the development of those 2 guys?
Watching Yama, obviously from last year to this year, just the confidence and the just more of like, hey, this is a normal day. He kind of came into his own. Really, he pitched great for us and then really showed well in the playoffs. But you could see when he came into CBR this year for spring training, he was like, okay, this is normal. Mm-hmm. I don't have all of these new scenarios coming up, plus trying to figure out how to navigate a major league season. So his level of confidence is incredibly high right now. He's looked so good in bullpens and games. His stuff, the execution is what really separates Yamamoto from a lot of guys have great stuff, but his execution is as good as I've ever seen. So he's, coming into his own and understanding how to navigate the big leagues. And then Roki has come in and been incredibly open and worked with our group and, some different delivery drills and things that work in the weight room for prep work to make sure we're patterning movements that he wants down the mound beforehand. So he's been great. He's dove right in with our group. And, the first outing was obviously incredibly impressive. Mm-hmm. And we're looking forward to him continuing to grow. I think what's so impressive about him is as good as he's been, there's like so much room up to even get better, which is kind of scary.
By the way, Yamamoto's smaller than I thought he was, and Roki's bigger than I thought he was when I saw him.
Yep.
But I have to ask, is it breaking news, Lana, that Roki's throwing game 2 in Tokyo? Because you said it, and you didn't deny it, Brandon.
I mean, it's not official.
Kyle Teal's not going to be there, so maybe he can pitch.
Setting things up, right? As we sit here right now, Yama's throwing today, and Roki's supposed to throw tomorrow, and then you guys go to Tokyo. So it kind of lines up well. Kind of lines up well. Okay.
Oh, I thought we were going to have breaking. We can think how many Japanese people you would excite if you said he's throwing game 2.
Yeah, we'll see how.
Okay. He's out of the bubble of the lab, like pitching wise. He threw great against the Reds the other day. How good can he be?
Yeah, I think the stuff, the velocity, the splitter, I feel bad for catchers. I don't know how you would catch it. It does something different every time. It's one of the, it's as unique of a pitch as I've ever seen. So as he's layering that foundational piece, those 2 pitches are obviously incredibly impressive. And then as he continues to refine the breaking ball, I think you're looking at one of the best pitchers in baseball.
Are you guys feel pressure to start Yamamoto and Roki in Japan? Because most teams would say, okay, we're going to start our 1 and 2 first 2 games of the season. And not saying you have to say they're your 1 and 2, but just do you feel like there's a pressure? So, okay, we're going over to Japan. We got to start them. Because if that's the case, you would think, okay, you're 1-2 are going to, like the Cubs 1-2 will probably start their first 2 opening day games stateside.
Yeah, I think the benefit of our rotation is that we have so many talented guys. It's tough to distinguish 1 through 5 or 6 or 7, however you want to do it. So,
or 8 or 9 or 10 or 11.
So I think a lot of it is like, hey, what makes sense for the Dodgers? What makes sense in the grand scheme of things for, baseball and how it all works? And, this is, if it continues to play out and things go that way, like we're in a good spot where those guys could throw those games. And I think it's something cool for the game of baseball, and also like for us as an organization, we feel really good about being able to do that as well.
Let's expand on that a little bit, though, because you have such quality, talented arms, and we're talking about, though, making sure everybody gets their innings, right, and building guys up to where they need to be. And obviously, injuries are a part of the game, but how do you look at it big picture-wise to make sure that it makes sense with the talent that you have?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a constant balance. And having done this last year, having gone to South Korea, we have a better understanding of how to navigate the exhibition games, those 2 games, and how we come out of it on the backside. Our schedule when we get back home is helpful, where we go 3 day off, 3 day off. So it allows us to kind of reset and make sure guys are continuing to build up to where we need it to be. So much of this is making sure that guys are in a position for success, short-term, long-term, in that with a unique buildup of spring training, that our starters are still going to get to that pitch threshold to be able to take down real innings come a domestic opening day.
You guys come back here, or you go to LA?
Back to LA. We have the Freeway Series. It's 2 real games, and then back to.
I know that's so weird. It's so weird to me. I want to know about your career path, because you were a middle reliever.
Middle relievers need love too.
No, they do.
AJ.
But not Breslow, right? Was a middle reliever. He's now the GM of the Red Sox. You're here, GM of the Dodgers. What is that path like? Because you just don't see. You've seen position players do it. You've seen some pitchers do it, but it's usually the position players that can work their way up. So how did you, as a middle reliever, get to be in charge of
the best team in the world?
That's what I was the team that everybody wants to be a part of and everyone wants to see. I mean, you mentioned Korea last year, Japan this year. You guys might be, who knows where you guys might be next year.
I was really fortunate as a player to be exposed to so much of what the Rays did, and always very curious about the analytical side of things, and then being a middle reliever and being like painfully average, like going up and down a bunch, being option, like understanding roster construction just from like how it affects me personally. So I was always curious about those things. So once I was done playing, started to reach out and obviously touch base with Andrew, and then started on the player development side on the pitching front here. And then the following year became farm director, so got exposure to everything. I think that job prepares you incredibly well for anything that's to come. And just kind of dove in and tried to be, learn as much as I possibly could on a daily basis. And like, fortunate enough for me, there's a lot of great people in this organization to soak up information. And I've been very fortunate on the way to continue to help out the organization any way I can.
You were the pitching performance coordinator. That sounds like a super crazy awesome name. How close are we? Because we looked at the Dodgers as like the most innovative, the most ability to spend money in certain areas. How close are we to being able to start to curtail some of these pitching injuries? Because you want the most out of your pitchers. Yeah. And I heard somebody from the Dodgers told me that you guys are starting to put more into that. Obviously, we've been doing it for a while, but how close are we? Or does it not really matter? We're just going to get 10 starters and here we go.
No, it always matters. I mean, we've spent a lot of time, and this is not like we just started thinking about it. We've put things in place along the past few years that we felt like were helpful to, mitigating injuries. And as things have played out, we haven't done a great job of that. It's hard to decipher exactly why that is. But so this offseason, kind of re-examining what we were doing, what we were solving for, and trying to rethink how to prepare our younger guys for when they get to the big leagues. And, we've had multiple group meetings, gotten a lot of input from a lot of different people. So this is, we've implemented a few things in the minor leagues this year that we hope will start to help that. And then as those things play out, continue those conversations, and look to improve upon that again throughout the season, come the off season, and making sure that we're not we're not happy, even if this helps with injuries. Continue to make sure that we're doing everything we can, because performance is great, health is obviously paramount, and you want those two to merge. So we'll continue to learn. We're far from perfect on it, and the industry is obviously not great with it either. So, it's something we'll keep striving for and look to get better, each and every year.
The Dodgers obviously have a quality front office that you're a part of, but you have a pretty successful and special guy in the dugout and in the clubhouse with Dave Roberts. He's done everything that this club has asked him to do. He wears a lot of different hats. It's not just the the game plan of the day. It's everything off the field as well.
Sure.
What do we need to do to get Dave this extension before we get on that plane and get to Tokyo?
Yeah.
Write him a check. You better get out that check. You better call the Guggenheimers and get them to give you some checks.
Back up that Briggs truck.
Yeah, obviously Dave's been great for us, and we work so closely together, and the impact that he has on and off the field is immense. So yeah, we feel really good about the place that we're in, and hopefully, when we have something to,
we can get a lifetime Kershaw deal, lifetime deal.
When we have something to announce, hopefully here in the next couple of days.
I mean,
you got about 36 hours till you leave.
We're around, so if you want to do it with us, remember I was here for 7 years. I know. All right.
We got nothing but time now.
Okay, all right, just checking. So as Kratz knows, and we kind of have a running joke whenever we have GMs on, they all have the quarter zip on. So he lived up to the hype today with the quarter zip. Yeah, I mean, Neander, though, I said had a hoodie on. Dana Brown was like slacked up, nice like Peter Millar golf shirt, like loafers. But every other GM, quarter zip. It's standard GM wear.
Yeah, it's very easy. Get it done. Don't
when you walk in, does the equipment guy have just a different quarter zip? And he's like, here.
There's a
whole closet
in the office.
I love it.
Well, you said it was because you didn't like your outfit, so you just put a quarter zip on if you don't like what you're wearing.
Like a 45 grade outfit, you throw the quarter zip on, and it helps it
out.
out.
Who critiques your outfit though?
Myself.
Oh, okay. So you have like a full mirror in your office, and you're like,
no.
I don't know about today. Okay, I was like, I don't know about today, so I'm gonna throw the quarter. I thought it would say World Series champion on it.
No,
it's on the back. You just can't see it.
It says two-time World Series champ.
It's inside the sleeve. Brandon, appreciate the time. Thank you. Appreciate it.
By the way, 1 for 1 off them. We checked the stats, Kratz. 1 for 1 off them.
It's not surprising.
Yeah. Sorry about it.
Sorry about it.
Do me a split.
Thanks, Brandon. Safe travels out to Japan.
Appreciate it.